We were supposed to be flying out the next morning to Greece for our anniversary. It was meant to be a big deal, our first international trip together after 5 years of marriage. I had done all the planning. I booked the flights, picked out our hotels, and even created an itinerary Daniel didn't bother to look at. He just nodded and said, "Thanks, babe. You're good at these things." That night, after dinner, he brought a glass of wine to me in the bedroom. I was sitting on the bed packing our toiletries. I looked up and smiled. "Thanks," I said, but I didn't take a sip immediately. He placed the wine on my nightstand and told me to relax. Then he said he was going to the kitchen to grab something. I got up to use the bathroom. I was only gone for a minute or two. When I came back, he was sitting on the edge of the bed. But something caught my eye. I saw him holding something small and white between his fingers. It looked like a pill. He dropped it into the wine glass, gave it a quick stir, and sat back like nothing had happened.
He didn't know I saw.
I didn't react. I acted like I didn't notice anything. I walked past the glass, grabbed my phone charger, and sat down across the room. A million things ran through my head. What the hell did I just see? Was it a mistake?
Was I imagining things?
I stood up and said I needed to go check on the laundry. I took both wine glasses with me, saying I'd freshen them up. I dumped the one he gave me in the kitchen sink and replaced it with a new one. Then I brought both glasses back. But I switched them. The glass Daniel had spiked? He drank it. About an hour later, he got really sleepy. I pretended like everything was fine. I asked if he wanted to lie down, and he nodded. 10 minutes later, he passed out. He didn't even change into his pajamas. He was out cold. That's when I opened the drawer where he kept our travel documents. Inside was the travel wallet we used. It had boarding passes, a printed copy of the hotel reservation, and his passport. Mine was missing. I double-checked the luggage, the hallway drawer, even my purse. Nothing. Then I looked closer at the boarding passes. Both tickets were for him and my sister, Ava. I stood there, my hands shaking, staring at proof of what I didn't want to believe. He was going on our trip with my sister, not me. And he had planned to leave me behind, unconscious and locked inside the house. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the living room staring at the travel folder, the boarding passes, and my missing passport. Every hour that passed made it more real. My husband had planned to drug me and disappear with my sister. By morning, Daniel was still asleep. I checked on him once around 5 a.m. He was knocked out, snoring, still in his jeans and t-shirt from the night before. The drug had hit him hard. I wanted to shake him awake. I wanted to scream in his face. But I didn't. Instead, I made coffee. Not for him. Just for me. At 7:42 a.m., he finally woke up. I heard him groan in the bedroom and then shuffle to the bathroom. A few minutes later, he came out rubbing his eyes and dragging his feet. He looked hungover. "Hey," he said, squinting. "Why didn't you wake me up? What time is it?" I didn't answer right away. I waited until he walked into the kitchen. "The flight leaves in 2 hours," I said flatly. He blinked. "Wait, what? Are we late?" I turned around and faced him, holding the 2 boarding passes.
No.
"You're late. Or actually not late at all. Because you weren't planning on taking me. Isn't that right?" His face froze. "What are you talking about?" I held up the boarding passes. "Explain why these say Daniel Price and Ava Brooks. Not Rachel Price, your wife. But Ava, my sister." He opened his mouth, closed it, and opened it again. "Rachel, I can explain." I didn't let him finish. "Also," I added, my voice sharp, "tell me where my passport is. Because it's not where we keep it, and I'm guessing that's not a coincidence." Daniel ran a hand through his messy hair. Okay. Just calm down." "Don't tell me to calm down," I snapped. "You drugged my wine last night." He flinched. "I didn't drug you. I watched you drop a pill into it, Daniel. I saw you. And guess what? I switched the glasses. You drank your own setup." He looked genuinely shocked for a moment, then angry. "You switched it?" "I had to. Because my husband was trying to knock me out before flying across the world with my sister." "Are you going to deny that too?" Daniel groaned and sat at the dining table, burying his face in his hands. It's not what you think. Then explain it to me. Because it looks like you were trying to leave me drugged and helpless while you ran off with Ava. Tell me how that's not what it looks like. He didn't answer. Say something. He looked up, then sighed. Look, we were just going to get away for a few days and talk. That's it. No funny business. I laughed bitterly. Funny business? You booked a romantic trip with my sister behind my back. And your solution was to drug me so I wouldn't notice you left. Daniel shook his head. I didn't want to hurt you. I needed space. And Ava, she understands me in ways you don't. I froze.
Wow.
That's what you're going with. She listens to me. She gets where I'm coming from. You're always working, always stressed, always tired. It's like you don't even look at me anymore. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So, instead of talking to me like a husband, you decided to sneak off with my sister and poison me to do it. Daniel stood. It wasn't poison. It was just a sedative. Just to help you sleep through the day. Oh, that makes it better, I said coldly. You drugged me to make it more convenient for you to cheat. He pointed at the folder. We weren't going to cheat. I just needed time to think. I thought if I could get away from everything, from the noise and pressure. With Ava, I interrupted. Not alone. With Ava. Before he could respond, I picked up my phone and dialed. Who are you calling? He asked. I put the phone on speaker. Hello, my sister answered after 2 rings. Ava, I said. Where are you right now? There was a pause. I'm getting ready. Why? Ready for what? She hesitated. The airport. So, you're still going? More silence. Daniel tried to grab the phone. I slapped his hand away. Ava, I continued. How long has this been going on? Ava's voice grew defensive. Look, I'm sorry you found out this way, okay? We were going to tell you. When, Ava? After you landed in Greece? After I woke up groggy and confused in a locked house without my passport. I didn't agree to that part, she muttered. Oh, so that was all Daniel's idea? Rachel, she said, her tone shifting. You've been so distant lately. Everyone can see it. You and Daniel haven't been right for months. This was bound to happen. This? You mean you sleeping with my husband? Or the 2 of you flying off behind my back? I didn't plan it, she snapped. It just happened. I hung up. Daniel was pacing by then, cursing under his breath. You told her to say that? I asked. I didn't tell her anything. I didn't think you'd find out this way. You drugged me, Daniel, I said again. This isn't a breakup. It's attempted manipulation. Maybe even a crime. He stopped and looked at me like I had slapped him. You're not going to the police. Don't test me. Daniel was still pacing the kitchen like a caged animal, muttering to himself. I sat down at the dining table across from him, the travel folder still in front of me like a murder weapon. Sit down, I said. He hesitated. Then, reluctantly, he pulled out the chair and sat opposite me. You're going to tell me everything, I said. All of it. From the beginning. No more half-truths. No more playing dumb. He stared at the table for a moment. It didn't start out this way, he said. Then how did it start, Daniel? I pressed. His fingers rubbed the edge of the table. It was Ava's birthday. Last year. We were all at that rooftop bar downtown, remember? I remembered. It had rained halfway through dinner, and we'd had to rush inside. Daniel had gone back out with Ava to grab her phone from the patio. I thought nothing of it. She started telling me things, he continued. Said you always overshadowed her. Always acted like you were perfect. She said that. I asked, eyebrows raised. She said being around you made her feel like she was invisible. Like you were the golden child growing up, and she was just there. I shook my head. That's not true. Well, he said, that night, she was crying. I tried to comfort her. She kissed me. I narrowed my eyes. And you kissed her back. I was drunk, he replied. That's not an excuse. He looked down. No. It's not. But that's when it started. I leaned back in my chair. So, what? You kissed at a bar, and that turned into a year-long affair behind my back. He flinched at the word affair. She called me the next day, he said. Said she was sorry, that it was a mistake. But then she called again. And again. And you never once thought about me? I asked. Your wife. The person you come home to every night. The person who took care of your father when he was sick. The person who paid your damn car off when you were behind on payments. Daniel's face flushed. It wasn't supposed to go this far. But it did. He nodded slowly. She started showing up at my office, bringing coffee, saying she wanted to talk. Then she said you were neglecting me, that you were always busy, that you weren't affectionate anymore. I laughed bitterly. So now it's my fault you cheated? I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying she made me feel seen. She manipulated you. And you let her. He didn't answer. I slammed my hand on the table. How long? His eyes flicked to mine. 9 months. I felt like someone had knocked the wind out of me. 9 months, I repeated. So while we were fighting about bills, while I was designing anniversary invitations for clients, while we were planning this trip, you and my sister were what? Making hotel reservations on the side. He didn't speak. I asked you a question. Yes, he finally said. Sometimes we'd book a room after work. Sometimes we'd say we were both going to the gym and meet up instead. I stood up and paced, trying not to scream. You brought her into our life. You made me eat dinner with her, laugh with her, plan her birthday last month. She said it was better to keep things normal so you wouldn't get suspicious, he said quietly. Oh, so she's the strategist now. I snapped. Daniel rubbed his face. She said she loved me. I turned to him. And you believe that? He looked away. She doesn't love you, Daniel, I said flatly. She wanted something I had. That's all this ever was. A competition. And she got you because you were easy. He stood up then. I'm not going to sit here and let you insult me like I'm some idiot who got tricked. Then stop acting like one. We stared at each other for a long moment. His fists were clenched. My breathing was heavy. The silence between us was loaded. She was the one who suggested we travel together, he finally said. She said it would give us space to figure out what we wanted. And you were planning to figure that out while I was passed out on the couch? I didn't know what else to do, Rachel. You would have never agreed to a break. You're right, I said, my voice dropping low. Because marriage doesn't work like that. You don't take a break with your wife's sister. You talk. You work. You fix it. Or you leave. I didn't want to leave you. No, I said. You just wanted both. He went quiet again. I crossed my arms. Where's my passport? He hesitated, then pointed to the lower cabinet under the sink. I walked over, opened it, and found it wrapped in an old tax envelope behind the cleaning supplies. You hid it? I asked. I didn't want you showing up at the airport. That's because you knew it was wrong. He didn't deny it. I looked down at the passport in my hands, then back at him. I'm not going to the police yet, I said. But I will if you try anything else. Do you understand me? He nodded. Good. Because now the clock's ticking. I'm giving you a chance to be honest. And I'm taking control of how this ends. After Daniel finally left the house to go clear his head, I locked the door behind him. Then I sat on the couch, still holding my passport in one hand and the boarding passes in the other. I stared at Ava's name printed next to my husband's and thought, this wasn't sudden. This wasn't random. This had been coming for years. Ava had always been complicated. We weren't just sisters. We were two sides of the same coin, but only one side ever seemed to shine. According to everyone in the family, Ava was the pretty one. She was the one with the perfect teeth, the naturally lighter skin, the slimmer waist. Our mom used to introduce her to guests with a little joke. She's the one who got the model looks. I was the smart one. The serious one. The dependable one. Growing up, we shared everything. Our bedroom. Our clothes. Even some friends. But Ava always wanted more than what we had. More than what she had. She wanted what I had. It started small. In primary school, she cried when I got picked to lead the class assembly. You always get chosen, she pouted. I gave her my part. Our mother said I was being a good big sister. In secondary school, it got worse. There was this boy, Kevin Martin. He was 2 years ahead of us. Tall, good-looking, athletic. Ava was obsessed. She had his photos saved on her Nokia phone and wrote Mrs. Ava Martin in her notebooks. I never paid him any attention. Until one day, Kevin approached me after school. "Hey, you're Rachel, right?" he asked. "You're in year 10? I nodded. "I like how you always answer questions in class," he said. "You're smart." "That's rare." We started talking after school. Then texting. Then dating. Ava found out 2 weeks later. We were in our room when she threw her textbook across the floor. "I told you I liked him," she screamed. "I didn't know you were serious." I shouted back. "You never even spoke to him. I told you he was my crush. And you still went for him." "I didn't go for anyone. He came to me." She didn't speak to me for a month. From then on, things were never quite the same between us. We smiled in front of our parents, took pictures together during Christmas. But there was a line. A tension. She forgave but never really forgot. In university, I got a scholarship. She didn't. When I moved into my own apartment after graduation, she had to move back home. When I started a stable job in corporate branding, she was hopping from boutique internships to short-lived PR gigs.
I didn't rub it in.
I tried to include her in my life. I even introduced her to my friends, my clients, even Daniel. That's how she met him. At my engagement dinner. She wore a black dress that was just a bit too tight, just a bit too low-cut. She laughed loudly at all his jokes. Our mother told me to stop being paranoid when I mentioned it. "She just wants to feel included," Mom said. "You know Ava. She's just playful." Playful. Ava helped me plan the wedding. She helped me pick the cake, the flowers, even my dress. I trusted her again. I thought maybe we were past that phase. But now, as I sat alone in the living room, everything came flooding back. The time she accidentally spilled juice on my university admission letter. The night she told one of my friends I was too uptight to be fun. The weekend she stayed over at our place, and Daniel was unusually quiet the whole time. I thought he was tired. Maybe I just didn't want to see it. Because deep down, Ava never stopped seeing me as her competition. To her, I was always ahead. I always won. Even when I wasn't trying to. So when Daniel started pulling away from me, when I was tired, stressed, and distracted, she took her shot. And he let her. This wasn't just about attraction. It was payback. For Kevin Martin. For graduation. For every time Mom said, "Why can't you be more like Rachel?" She hadn't just betrayed me. She'd been waiting for the right moment to finally win. And now I had to decide what to do with all that anger. Rachel didn't sleep. After Daniel confessed everything, she waited until morning, pulled on jeans and a plain top, and drove straight to Ava's apartment. No calls. No texts. No warning. When Ava opened the door, she looked surprised, but not nervous. Rachel pushed past her and walked into the living room. "We need to talk," she said coldly. Ava crossed her arms and leaned against the wall. "About? Don't play dumb. You and Daniel. The tickets. The lies." Ava rolled her eyes and sat on the armrest of the couch. "I knew he wouldn't be able to keep his mouth shut." "You need to end it," Rachel said firmly. "Whatever is going on between you and him, it ends now." Ava stared at her. "You think I'm going to just step aside because you said so?" Rachel blinked.
Yes.
"You're my sister." Ava gave a dry laugh. "That didn't matter when you went after Kevin in high school, remember?" Rachel's jaw tightened. "We're not still talking about Kevin, are we?" Ava stood. "You always got everything. The grades. The attention. The praise. And now Daniel." Rachel shook her head. "So this is revenge? You used Daniel to settle some childhood score?" "I didn't plan to fall for him," Ava snapped. "It just happened." Rachel folded her arms. "Then unhappen it. Because this ends today." Ava looked at her quietly for a long moment. Then her voice dropped. "I'm pregnant." The words hit Rachel like a truck. "No," she whispered. "Yes," Ava said, eyes unblinking. 7 weeks. Rachel stepped back. Her legs suddenly felt weak. She sat down on the nearest chair, her breathing uneven. I don't believe you. Ava shrugged. Believe what you want. But the test says otherwise. Rachel looked up at her, pain clear in her voice. Did you do this on purpose? Ava looked away. That was enough answer. Rachel stood up slowly, picked up her bag, and walked toward the door. You've won then, she said. I can't compete with that. As she opened the door, Ava called after her. I didn't do this to win, Rachel. I just wanted to feel something for once, like what you always had. Rachel didn't respond. She walked out and closed the door behind her. By the time she got home, Daniel was sitting on the couch, his face pale and hands clasped tightly. I saw Ava, Rachel said simply. He stood. And she's pregnant. He swallowed hard. She told you that? I told her it's over. Then I told her we're done too. Daniel stepped forward. Rachel, please. I want a divorce. His face fell. Don't say that. I'm saying it. I'm tired. I'm angry. And I'm done. Daniel reached for her hands, but she pulled away. I can't live in a house where my sister's baby might be crawling on the floor in a few months, she said, voice cracking. And I can't look at you without thinking about the fact that you chose her over me. It wasn't like that, he said desperately. I made mistakes, yes. But it didn't mean I stopped loving you. I didn't want to lose you. I didn't even want her. Not really. Then why did you keep seeing her? She shouted. Why did you go behind my back, lie to my face, and book a trip with her?
He broke down.
I don't know. I was stupid.
Weak.
I thought it would just fade out. That I'd figure it out before anyone got hurt. Well, too late, she snapped. Everyone's hurt. Daniel stood there helplessly. I'm not going to give up. I still love you. I'll fight for this marriage. Rachel wiped her eyes, her voice quiet now. You should have fought before you betrayed me. That night, Rachel barely held herself together. The pain wasn't just from Daniel's betrayal, it was the self-doubt creeping in. Maybe she hadn't been enough. Maybe Ava got what she couldn't give. Maybe the real problem was that she couldn't give Daniel a child. She cried until she couldn't anymore. Then she called her closest friend, Nina. Come stay with me, Nina said without hesitation. You shouldn't be alone. Rachel packed a bag the next morning and moved in with Nina for a few days. Nina didn't ask questions. She cooked, made tea, and gave her space. But Daniel didn't back down. Every day, he came by and left something at the door. Flowers. A handwritten note. A card. One day, even a box of their old vacation photos with a sticky note that said, Please don't throw this away like we didn't matter. Rachel didn't open them. Then came her mother. She arrived at Nina's place uninvited. Rachel stepped outside to talk to her. Sweetheart, her mother said gently. Can we talk? Rachel didn't answer. Her mother continued. I know you're angry, but Ava's baby is still your niece.
She's family.
And Daniel, he's still your husband. Rachel stared at her. You want me to forgive him because Ava got pregnant? I'm saying, her mother said slowly, don't throw away a good man because of one mistake. Rachel's voice was tight. It wasn't one mistake. It was months of lying. And Ava didn't just get pregnant. She did it to ruin my life. Her mother reached for her hand. I'm just saying, think carefully. You've built a life together. Is this really how you want it to end? Rachel pulled her hand away.
Yes.
It is. She turned and went back inside. But that night, Rachel woke up nauseous. Her stomach turned at every smell. She rushed to the bathroom and vomited violently. The next morning, she was still queasy. Nina looked at her from the kitchen. You okay? Rachel shook her head. I think I need to see a doctor. At the hospital, she signed in and waited quietly, her head pounding, her stomach twisting. And then, fate struck again. Just down the hallway, she saw Ava, laughing, with a man. He was tall, well-dressed, and had his arm around her casually. They looked familiar. Rachel froze. Ava saw her. Her smile dropped. Oh, hey, Ava said, walking over quickly. What are you doing here? Check up, Rachel said cautiously. Ava gestured to the man beside her. This is just a friend. The man looked nervous, like he didn't want to be there. Rachel raised an eyebrow but said nothing. A nurse called her name. Rachel Price. She stepped away from Ava and walked into the room. Minutes later, her world tilted again. The nurse came back with a smile. Congratulations. You're pregnant. Rachel's heart skipped. What? 5 weeks, the nurse said. Would you like to schedule a follow-up? Rachel didn't answer. She stared at the wall, stunned. She was pregnant, and Daniel didn't know. Rachel didn't go back to Nina's house straight after the hospital. She drove around for nearly an hour, trying to steady her thoughts. One hand rested on her belly, the other on the wheel. Pregnant. She was pregnant, and the timing, it changed everything. She hadn't told Daniel. She hadn't told anyone. She wasn't even sure what it meant yet. But she needed clarity. So she turned the car toward the one place she hoped would give her answers, her mother's house. When she pulled into the driveway, she noticed another car already there. Ava's. Her hands tightened around the steering wheel. She parked quietly and walked up to the front door. It was slightly open. She stepped onto the porch, raised her hand to knock, but stopped when she heard voices from inside. Ava's voice. You don't understand, Mom. I never meant for it to go this far. Then their mother's voice, sharp. What exactly didn't you mean, Ava? Getting involved with your sister's husband? Faking a pregnancy? Rachel's eyes widened. Her hand froze in midair. Ava responded, her voice trembling. I didn't fake it. I just didn't know who the father was. Her mother sounded horrified. You told Daniel it was his. Ava's voice cracked. Because I needed him to choose me. He was never going to leave Rachel unless I gave him a reason. You told me the child was his, Ava. I thought it might be, Ava said quickly. But then I realized the dates didn't add up. I hadn't even slept with Daniel then, just kissed him. I just said it was his to push Rachel away. Rachel stood at the doorway, heart hammering in her chest. Ava lied. Lied about the pregnancy. Lied about everything. And you are going to carry this life forever? Her mother asked. I just wanted one thing in my life to go right, Ava whispered. Rachel always gets everything. Everything. The attention. The respect. Even when she doesn't try, people bend over backwards for her. That's not Rachel's fault, her mom replied, sternly. You're not 12 anymore, Ava. But you did favor her, Mom. You always did. I was always compared to her. Teachers, aunties, uncles, even you. You always made me feel like a second-place version of her. There was a pause. Then their mother spoke quietly. I never favored her. I just guided the one who needed it less. Ava broke. I was jealous. I thought if I could just have what Rachel had for once, maybe I'd matter too. And what happens now? Her mother asked. You've ruined a marriage. I'm going out of state with the baby's real father, Ava mumbled. He agreed to move with me. I just want to disappear. Rachel had heard enough. She stepped through the door and entered the living room. Ava and their mother both froze. Their mother stood up instantly. Rachel. I heard everything, Rachel said calmly. From the porch. Ava looked like she'd been slapped. Rachel walked in, straight-faced, calm, but her voice carried a heavy, cutting edge. So, the baby was never Daniel's? Ava stared at the ground. Rachel turned to her mother. You knew. I just found out right now, her mother said quietly. I didn't know until she confessed. Rachel turned back to Ava. You lied to me. You let me walk away from my marriage. You let me believe I was the problem. I'm sorry, Ava whispered. Rachel's voice trembled. I trusted you. Even after everything, I thought you were just confused. But you were cruel. Deliberate. I didn't mean to hurt you this much, Ava said, tearing up. You destroyed what little bond we had left, Rachel said. And I want you to know I'm done. For good. Ava stood and tried to come closer. Rachel, please. Rachel stepped back. Don't touch me. Don't speak to me. I hope you find peace, but I never want to see your face again. She turned to leave. Wait, her mother said gently. Where are you going? Rachel paused at the door. Her eyes lingered on Ava for just a second before she replied. I'm going to tell Daniel the truth. That evening, Rachel sat quietly at Nina's dining table. Nina watched her, cautious, as Rachel picked at a slice of bread. You sure you want to tell him? Nina asked. Rachel nodded. He has a right to know. Whatever happens between us, he deserves that much. And you? Nina asked. What do you want? Rachel didn't answer.
She didn't know yet.
All she knew was that she couldn't keep living in a fog of half-truths. Later that night, Rachel got into her car and drove to the house. It was quiet. The lights were on inside. As she pulled into the driveway, she saw something that made her stop. Ava's car. She froze. Her hand reached for the gearshift to reverse, but before she could, the front door opened. Daniel rushed out, barefoot and panicked. Rachel, don't go. Please. She opened the car door, but didn't get out. Daniel walked to her side. You came. Thank God. What is she doing here? Rachel asked coldly. She just left. She came to tell me something. Rachel looked at him. I already know. Daniel blinked. You do. She told Mom. I overheard everything. Daniel stepped back. Then you know the baby isn't mine? Rachel nodded. Daniel sighed and ran a hand through his hair. I wanted to tell you. She confessed. Said she used the pregnancy to manipulate me. Said she just wanted to tear us apart. Rachel stared at him. What about the hotels? She blackmailed me. Said if I didn't meet her, she'd tell you I got her pregnant. And every time I met her, she brought wine. I drank it. I don't even remember what happened most times. I thought I had done something I couldn't take back. But I didn't. Rachel said nothing.
She admitted it, he added.
Said she drugged me. Made it all up. Rachel stared at him, unreadable. Finally, she pulled a folded paper from her bag and handed it to him. He took it. What's this? The truth, she said. He unfolded it slowly, scanned the paper and froze. His head jerked up. You're pregnant. Rachel nodded. Daniel blinked hard, like he couldn't trust his eyes. Rachel, I didn't come here for a reunion, she said softly. I came to tell you because I thought you deserved to know. He stepped forward, voice trembling. Can we talk?
Please. Just talk.
I need you to hear everything. She shook her head gently. Not tonight. Daniel's eyes welled up. I'll never forgive myself. But I'll wait. As long as it takes. Just don't shut me out. Rachel didn't respond. She walked back to her car, got in and drove off. Back at Nina's, she found Daniel already waiting by the gate. He dropped to his knees the moment she stepped out of the car. I know I've lost your trust. But please, don't walk away completely. Rachel stared at him, exhausted. I'm not saying I'll forget what happened, she said. But I might forgive. Someday. But I need time.
And space.
Away from all of this. I'll do whatever it takes, Daniel promised. I'll move.
Quit my job.
Start over. I just need a chance. She shook her head. Right now, what I need is to feel safe. And that means distance. She turned and walked inside. Daniel remained on his knees in the driveway. 2 weeks passed. Rachel didn't speak to Daniel. Not once. He stopped coming every day, but every other evening, Nina would find another small envelope at the door, another note, always handwritten, each one ending with the same line. I'm here when you're ready. I always will be. Rachel never responded. She was exhausted, mentally, emotionally, physically. She'd started her prenatal appointments, taken a few days off work, and spent hours in quiet solitude. Nina remained her anchor, always there with hot tea and silent support. Then one Friday morning, as Rachel sat at the kitchen table, a brown envelope slid through the door. Nina picked it up. It's not from Daniel. No flowers. No perfume. Rachel took it and opened it cautiously. Inside was a letter, handwritten. The name at the bottom made her heart skip.
Ava.
Rachel. I don't know how to say any of this in a way that will make it better, but I need to say it anyway.
I'm sorry.
Truly, deeply sorry. I let jealousy turn me into someone I don't even recognize anymore. For years, I lived in your shadow and blamed you for it. I never stopped to see how much you actually tried to include me, support me, protect me. You weren't the problem. My own insecurity was. When I met Daniel, I saw the way he loved you. And for some twisted reason, I wanted that for me. Not because I loved him, but because I wanted to feel wanted. That's the truth. The pregnancy was never his. I knew that. I said it anyway, because I was selfish.
I've hurt you.
I've hurt him, and I've hurt myself. But more than anything, I destroyed the only family relationship I had left. That's on me. I'm leaving the city. The baby's father and I are moving out of state. I won't bother you again. But before I go, I want to say something that I hope you carry with you. You are brilliant, strong,
Kind.
and despite what I did, Daniel still loves you. He's made mistakes, but he never stopped loving you. Don't throw him away because of me. If there's anyone who deserves happiness, it's you. Don't let my mess steal your peace. I love you. I really do.
Ava.
Rachel sat in silence, tears rolling down her cheeks. Nina quietly wrapped an arm around her.
She didn't speak.
She didn't need to. Rachel held the letter in her hands, read it one more time, and whispered, I don't know if I'll ever fully forgive her. You don't have to, Nina said gently. You just have to let go. That evening, Rachel drove to the house. She didn't call ahead.
She didn't text.
When she opened the door, Daniel was standing right there in the hallway, like he'd been waiting for her every single day. Their eyes met. She laughed nervously. Were you always standing by the door? He smiled weakly. Just got home 10 minutes ago. I left the door unlocked out of habit. She stepped inside. They stood there face to face, not speaking. Then Rachel said, I got your notes. And the letter? She nodded. From Ava. Yeah, I got it. Daniel looked away for a second. I didn't know she'd write to you. I didn't ask her to. I know, Rachel said quietly. A long silence stretched between them. Finally, Daniel whispered, Do you hate me? Rachel looked up at him.
No.
But I'm still hurt. I'll wait, he said. As long as it takes. She looked down, then back up again. I don't want you to wait. His face dropped slightly. I want you to try, she continued. But don't wait like I'm some prize to win back. If we're going to rebuild this, it has to be different. No more lies. No more hiding things. No more guilt tripping. You show up, consistently. As a man I can trust. I will, he said immediately. She nodded slowly. And if I ever feel like I'm back in the dark again, I will leave. For good. This baby comes first now. My peace comes first. Daniel's eyes watered. I understand. She took a deep breath. I'm not coming back tonight. I just wanted you to know. I'm not done yet. But I'm not healed either. He stepped closer. Can I hug you?
She paused.
Then nodded. He wrapped his arms around her, gently, like she might break. She buried her face in his shoulder and whispered, We're going to be parents. I know, he said softly. And I want to be the kind of father this child can be proud of. Rachel nodded, then pulled away. I'll call you, she said. He smiled. I'll pick up on the first ring. She turned and walked out. 1 month later, she moved back home, on her terms. They started over.
Slowly. Carefully.
No promises of forever. Just one day at a time.